Welcome, everyone. I hope there's someone watching. If there is, please say hi. Welcome to the Soul Show with Ava, where we talk all about the soul, our soul. Tonight, I wanted to talk about reincarnation again. There you are. Isn't it pretty? Yes. It's my starship. I was going to welcome everyone to my starship. Not enterprise, but enterprise, where we go to the depths of our soul to explore the unknown. So, yes, this is my little starship. I wanted, again, to speak about reincarnation. It's really a subject about the soul, why we're here, what happens to us when we're not here. So I'm going to talk about that, if you don't mind. Our soul is not something that we have, it's something that we are. And the soul, by its very nature, needs to be here in this earthly, physical, material existence. It can't be helped. It's here to accelerate our learning, the learning process, in order to achieve higher and higher levels of consciousness, awareness. So we need to be here to go through the trials and tribulations of life, of the physical experiences. We always need new experiences in order to bring about this expansion of our consciousness. This is how people and cultures around the world progress, how we make progress as a species. You see, the material life we lead here on Earth allows us to make free choice, totally free choice as to when or where or who we want to be. Our individuality is always preserved during our time, even between lives, when we are so-called dead. Well, we're not. We're never dead. In fact, when we cross over, we're more alive than here, because our spiritual complexity is easier for us to comprehend. And you know that some of some souls are much more eager for life on earth than others. Some are not that eager for it. Everyone is very different on a soul level. We're individuals. But all of us have to pass through various circumstances, situations, relationships that are meant to teach us. But you see, it's really not that bad. The good news is that we don't have to go at this thing called life here, the material world, completely alone. We're never really alone. There are guides that are assigned to us when we incarnate, guardian angels, whose task it is to help us and to advise us, to nudge us in the right direction. But we can ignore them if we want to. And most people ignore it, the advice of their guardian angels. But that advice comes from a place of higher wisdom. They know your track, your path, why you incarnated. And they know your challenges. They don't want to keep those challenges away from you. They simply want to help you through them so that the best possible lessons, outcomes can manifest. You see, I find reincarnation one of the most fascinating of subjects. But sometimes if we become too obsessed with it, that is, trying to constantly run after information about our past lives, it can turn into a sort of trap where you almost ignore the life you're living in pursuit of information about the life or the lives you have lived. It can be what happens. It is a fascinating subject, as I say. Fascinating to know about yourself, to know all the various layers of your being. But it's certainly wrong to put any blame for your present circumstances on some past life or on what we call karma. You see, the very richness of the moment, the present moment, is the place where you have the power. The power is in the moment. The power to change any negative influences on you. I learned a great deal. I read about 20 years ago the works of Jane Roberts, who was, I think, one of the only truly authentic channels I've ever read. It can be a disguise for our own consciousness, our own higher consciousness. We think we're channeling. And we may be channeling our higher consciousness, but but not a separate entity. And even Jane Roberts questioned whether Seth was an actual separate entity. The matter of identity is very complex. Who are we? Who were we? Who will we be? And are they there now? And if they are, then who are we? You see? And that always perplexed her. But Seth says that though we may have brought negative influences into our life reincarnationally, now this moment is the reality in which you can change your experiences. You do it by deepening your understanding, which isn't, that's why we're here, is to deepen our understanding. So reincarnation really invites you to examine your own life. Seth, in his many comments about reincarnation, said to meditate upon the challenges that you've set yourself, and the overcoming of those challenges will reveal your own life's purposes here on earth. So if you or we are in the grips of negative influences, he says it's important to know that with understanding, you can release yourself from hatred, from envy, from bitterness. It's through self-understanding that we can change our life. And we can do it automatically. Automatically. We can have a change of heart. And immediately you will see relationships, events changing for you. This deeper understanding is based upon the knowledge that you form from your day-to-day existence, your experiences, the life you're living. You see, by altering your mental and psychic habits, patterns, you can have real effects on your emotional, material, life experiences. And another thing that happens as we awaken to that understanding is a real acceleration occurs of spiritual and psychic growth. You become more attuned to the messages coming from within you, and it builds your natural psychic abilities. So let me break for a moment and say hello. Hi there, Cappy. Yes. Silver Girl, healing artist, to time, and poetry witch, Ellie Dan, Tracy Luck, Jane Jones. Oh my goodness, such lovely names. Hi, everyone. Let me read here. If you have any questions about what I've just spoken about, let me know. Let me know. Hi, love you too, Laura. Hello. Eloise, hello. Yes, this. Yeah. I hope you like my setting. It's my starship, as I was saying in the beginning. Starship Enterprise, not Enterprise. Hello from Thailand. Wow. Carla, wow. You're so far across the plane. Goodness gracious. Is it beautiful there now? It's beautiful here. I'm in Florida, and the weather is just incredibly. The first hint of autumn has come in, which means it was not 95 degrees, but more like 90. So you can feel that subtle change in the weather here. You're sweet, healing artist. I like music, but I like more to listen to it than to sing. I have a Libra rising. Have you? About reincarnation? Isn't it interesting? Isn't it interesting? Because we never get any hints about it during our schooling. Generally, from our family, we don't hear a thing about it. We certainly don't hear much about it in church. If we go to a traditional church, temple, I became interested in reincarnation many, many, many years ago. I always had, because I'm Pisces, Scorpio rising, I always had the sense of my dwelling in a different dimension simultaneously to this one. And as I mentioned, some souls are very eager for this experience. I don't think I was. I was reluctant. I liked it where I was. I liked the other dimension. And there's a lot of harshness to this reality. The mistakes that human beings make on a spiritual level here are so frightening. that I was not eager to join, but I realized that you're sacrosanct. Nothing can touch you, really. Your body is your temporary vehicle, very temporary. Once you get to my age, you realize I'm 67, you realize how temporary it really is. It's a blink of an eye. Your soul, who you are, is eternal. When I was first introduced to the idea of death, I thought it absurd, ridiculous. Whoever thought of such a thing? A ceasing of you. Impossible. I knew as a child it was impossible. These are misimpressions we have when we see things die in nature, disappear from their living state. So we draw inferences from that observations or these observations, which are completely incorrect. So let me continue because I think you might be interested. But nonetheless, reincarnation is incredibly fascinating as a topic. Seth again says that the process of reincarnation can be used by an individual in many, many different ways. Some souls, for example, choose to isolate various talents, personality traits, characteristics, and to work on those exclusively. They become specialists, experts, geniuses at some art. You see, this is sort of like a theme, a main theme that's chosen by the soul, by the individual, whereby then all the events and the relationships that one has become an extension of the theme, of that focus, that intense concentration of energy in one area. And you may also choose, a soul may choose to have a string of lives that are similarly focused. On the other hand, some souls prefer a much easier approach to the reincarnational system. They sort of mix things up. They take the crooked road, shall we say, the crooked road to enlightenment. And as to the question of, do we meet the same personalities, people, over many lives? Well, yes, we do. Because you see, Some souls may be working on very similar themes, purposes. So you share in soul qualities, soul directions, and it becomes magnetic and literally attracts them to you. You call them soulmates or deep friendships. Sometimes entire families reincarnate together. Sometimes entire villages, towns reincarnate together, and they work on similar problems, issues. And when you meet someone for the very first time, you'll recognize them as one of those soulmates because there's a general feeling of deep familiarity that really doesn't have any reasonable, immediate explanation. You just met, you see. That's why everyone is looking for a soulmate. It's not Pollyanna-ish to do so. It's a recognition of the way it works. So, anyone have a comment about soulmates? How'd you meet yours? Yes, that's impossible. I'm glad you agree with me about death being impossible. I know it's a silly, silly thing we're taught, meant to scare us. And the atheist is having used his reason to arrive at a ridiculous conclusion. So ironic. Ironic. Oh, it's poetry witch, I'm sure. I've been a seagull in one lifetime. Such a connection with birds. Well, you can transpose. You know, I know that. I know that. I think it was magic mushrooms. I think it was. You know, the Don Juan shaman. Many shamanistic rituals around mushrooms and things like they use. They literally take an animal's perspective and see out of the animal's eyes and ears and senses. So it can be done. You can project your consciousness. In fact, you can project it anywhere as remote viewing, if you've heard of that. That's one of the most common psychic abilities that people can be taught to use and activate more readily than practically any other. Isn't it remarkable? The remote viewing is where you can see at a distance, see in a place you're not, to project your consciousness to another location and to be able to describe what is happening there. And I can see why that psychic ability is so perhaps common or ubiquitous, because can you imagine before the era of technological communication and our ability to explore vehicles of exploration, all we really had to give us direction was our senses, and to see around the other side of a mountain to see whether there was danger there, to be able to also project your consciousness so that you could go out, find food, and leave your children behind and know they would be well. These are projections of consciousness that we now, in a more sophisticated technological world, have lost, but not entirely. Because as I said, I believe they say it is our most common extrasensory power. It can be reactivated with, uh, they have techniques, you know. Fabiana, hello. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. So glad to see you here. So glad to see you here. I can take a break from finishing up what I was going to tell you about. Reincarnation, again, it's a subject I can go on forever about, but if you need a reading, this is the time to do it. The way we do it here is by donation. If you feel you have a question in your life that you would like me to address, I have several ways to do it. I have all my crystals on for the purposes of this. I have the Weight Rider deck. I have the animal totems. I have the angel cards. And I also have the spiritual path cards as well. And and I also have something I can look up your date of birth astrologically, just to give us a little extra help, extra clues. Namaste, Broken Gong. Welcome. Nice to see you. So yes, the idea of identity, again, is what reincarnation is about, because we have such a limited view of who and what we are. We think of ourselves as a single I. And as I mentioned in our previous talk about reincarnation, that it's hard for us to imagine being in two places at once. But in fact, that's what has to happen. When we project our consciousness into or over a terrestrial field into another location, we are literally in two places at once. But on a broader level, we're also reincarnationally in two places, three places, four places, five places, ad infinitum, in the moment, simultaneously. The simultaneity of being, the multiplicity of who you are. Not only, they describe heaven in Christianity as uh, a place where there are many mansions, meaning many dimensions. And there are many mansions within who you are, many places you dwell right now, here in the moment, but you're not aware of consciously. You would be so overwhelmed with data, concerns, worries of each one of your reincarnational selves who are in the moment going through their own trials. Even time is simultaneously. So you live in the past, in the present, and in the future simultaneously. Time is an illusion, a total illusion, but a very convincing one. That's why you hang on to it with your dear life. But you can think of it as the moment that we're living right now is preserved and constantly creates new possibilities. As do we here now in the moment, so does our past self create, and so does our future self create. Only God could contain all of that information at once. Only that kind of grand consciousness. But we're learning, you see, we're learning also to be co-creators, to have the characteristics of gods. So is every living thing on that mission, on that journey, doing it in their own particular way. I'm glad you do, Carla, believe in the eternal existence. Yes, it's when you find, I was reading Jane Jones's comment, soulmates, twin flames. You meet someone and you literally sort of fall into this vortex of magnetism, really, is what it is. And that's why people have certainty when they encounter someone like that, their soulmate, someone they know that they're going to know for a very long time, with whom they're going to share passionate and intense life experiences. It's already vibrating in the very ether that you exist in. But these are agreements that were set up before we're born. Agreements to meet and to live experiences together and to grow from them in our own way, learn from them. And that's why we meet the same people over and over again. It's not that we can't meet new ones. You do. But they don't have the intense soul purpose that these special people do. So I'm going to I'd like to complete this because again, I think it's interesting. It's true too that because there's so little religious or cultural education, information about reincarnation, that the vast majority of people in the West deny it. They don't believe in reincarnation. But you see, that doesn't in any way interfere with the actual process. It doesn't matter if you don't believe it. It doesn't care that you don't believe it. The idea, though, of adopting a belief in reincarnation is very healthy, though psychically. It helps to sort of lessen the burden of life and gives you hints at why things are happening the way they're happening. It takes the randomness out of your life, the meaninglessness of events. But you have to step out of yourself and look at your life as, say, someone else would from the outside, to see these correlations, to see these themes, to see the purpose behind it. Because you get too lost in the minutia, can't see the forest because you bump into the trees, bump into each experience and get caught by the drama of your experiences, and you can't see what it all means. And then there's always the question. I've been teaching spiritual things for a long time, and I get these questions about, well, all right, then what happens to us when we're dead, when we're not incarnated? So as to what happens to us after we die and before we're reincarnated, I'd like to go back again to Seth because he's so insightful about it. You see, the question also was posed to him, to Seth. The question, when we leave the physical body, where do we go? Seth answers, you go where you want to go. Isn't that interesting? You go where you want to go. And then he describes what he means. Now, when your ordinary waking conscious mind is lulled in the sleep state, you literally travel to other dimensions. So you're already having experiences in these other dimensions that death is. It's another dimension of yourself. And you go there at night when you sleep. You see, you're preparing your own way. When you die, you go into these ways that you have prepared. So our nightly sleeping sessions also are a means by which we prepare the way for our ascent into the dimension of death. And after we die, there are various periods of training that vary according to the individual. You must understand the nature of reality before you can manipulate within it well. So you see what he's saying. These guardian angels that are with you during life are also with you during death. You prepare the way during sleep with them. They help you. And they help you to manipulate within the reality that was created by you, that path that was forged by you during sleep. In physical reality, you're learning that your thoughts have reality and that you create the reality that you know by controlling your thoughts. They are your magic wand. So when you leave the earth dimension, then you concentrate upon the knowledge that you've gained by testing out your thoughts, your beliefs. What have they produced? What have they created? That you take with you. And you see, it's important. If you still do not know or realize that you create your own reality, then what happens is that you have to return again and again to learn to manipulate and to see the results of the inner reality when you meet it objectively in the material reality. You see, that's what it's for, to objectify your thoughts, to meet them, to encounter them, to learn from them. And when you do, you teach yourself the lesson until you have learned it thoroughly. Then begins the process of handling your consciousness intelligently, directing it intelligently, using your thoughts as true magical wands to use your power with grace and beauty. Then you can form images for the benefit of others and be their guide, be their guardian angels. So we also are guardian angels in training. So it's all about constantly enlarging the scope of our understanding by living and choosing our thoughts and our beliefs. That's how we create the life we have. That's how every one of our lives is being created. And as I mentioned in our last get together, that they all live separately. Your reincarnational lives being simultaneously occurring. The idea of cause and effect doesn't hold true. Themes run through your lives, but the fact that you may have been a murderer in one does not stop you from being a saint in another. You see, and in fact, it often happens that way. And another thing that was another interesting idea is that, say for instance, you don't have a particular talent for math. You're very good at literature, at words, or visual poetry, or maybe making things with your hands, building, or maybe you are good with children, but you're certainly not good with math. Just as a for instance. But does that mean that you were never good with math? No, in fact, the probability is that you were in other lives extraordinary with math. And that in the life you're leading now, you want to try a completely different attitude, a completely different prism through which you see reality for your soul's growth and well being. So, if you look in your own personality and to see the deficiencies there, you might have reincarnational selves that are living at a very high level within those talents and are very focused in them. You see, that's how complex it is. All right. Soulmates. Ellie. Ely. Ely. Ellie. Ellie. Well, I have a girlfriend named Ellie. I hope that's how you pronounce that. You say it makes sense. Religion is a step to spirituality and bridges mundane with higher missions of the soul. Yes, darling, that's it. That's it. Oh, you just got here. Well, you can always listen to it back. It's early in Sydney. Oh, hello. Hello, darling. How are you today? Yes, we have a lot of new people too. Look at that. Just look at all these. Oh my goodness, so nice. Oh, all right, Poetry Witch. Just hit you. All right. Virtually, I will. Goodness. I'm a pacifist. Don't talk to me like that. All right, so let's see. I don't know. I just let's see. Let's choose for you first an animal totem. because I love the perspective of the shamans first. I feel that. Do you know that I want to wish you, first of all, a very happy full moon in Pisces. In Pisces. So it's a perfect night for this kind of conversation and to get a reading in an atmosphere where the portals, the conduit to the inner world is more open. See and I call this my starship. Enterprise. It's so cute. All right? Right before you, darling. Okay. Let's see. Oops. Let me. That's the jaguar. So let me peruse it. Hold on. The jaguar. Give me a moment. Talk amongst yourselves. I love the jaguar, don't you? I love all the big cats and little ones too, of course. There we go. All right. The jaguar. It's preceded by the alligator. All right. Here we go. The jaguar. Goodness. Integrity. Impeccability. Since the death of the sky god, the godlike being who had come from the stars and led the Maya to prosperity and to a golden era of spiritual understanding, his teachings of love, integrity, impeccability, and the power of a compassionate heart had been perverted. The distortion is his jaguar teaching. You see, that's how cultures degenerate, to where priests were sacrificing human beings, foolishly cutting out the victims' hearts to reclaim the power of the golden days of the empire. Forgotten was the authentic power of the honorable and the loving heart in Sky God's teachings. The great jaguar spirit, who was Sky God's totem, named the dreams of the Maya, looking for any dishonorable behavior, misdeeds, and abuses of power, and he dismantled them. Jaguar brought justice by stalking their dreams and devouring their flagrantly dishonorable and greedy misdeeds. You see, Jaguar's medicine is integrity and impeccability. Its mission is to devour the unclean aspect of human behavior. Jaguar teaches us the penalties of inappropriate behavior, and others the rewards of good medicine to those who practice personal integrity and walk through life in an impeccable manner. Integrity. I was mentioning this in our talk about reincarnation, how we have to learn that thoughts matter. What we think, not only what we do, but what we think matters. And we have to actually start at the root of behavior by changing thought, always redirecting thought towards the good. And that way we heal our life. Now what I'm going to do, as a sort of psychological backdrop, will take the Waite Rider deck and see what it has to say to you. Hold on. Let me look at them. I like often to touch the cards individually. Hold on. Checking. There are no reversals in there now. So I only put a few, very few. And when and if we receive a reversal, it then is very significant. So there's 2 reversals. And then I'm going to shuffle right here in front of you. Here we go. All right. Look at that. The Queen of Swords. That's interesting because the Queen of Swords is a queen of integrity. She is the Queen of Justice. She's sort of the minor arcana justice card. So it's a Librian kind of energy. Where judgment, where your judgment is being tested, and where you have to choose good and evil. There's a sort of a good and evil quality about the reading so far, as if you were pitted against matters of good and evil, choosing which side you're on something. And she's a rather serious queen, one of the most stern queens. In other words, her whole attitude is one of tremendous social responsibility. She feels the weight of the world on her shoulders and feels the consequences of her her actions and choices. She's been disappointed in love. She's been let down by people. And in so being, she's developed a certain coldness or roughness or just sternness of attitude. But it's there simply to hide, to not look or appear vulnerable. It's a guarding of the heart. But there's tremendous pride also in her, in what she can do intellectually, how sharp her mind is. And it seems that there's a situation in which you possibly are going to have to display these kinds of characteristics, these kinds of attitudes, this kind of sort of garden guarding of the truth, the right, being very heroic for standing up for justice, you see? So the theme is there in both cards that I pulled for you. All right? See. And so I think to lighten it for you, very, we'll pick a soul path card for you. And these are hard to read. Hold on. Oh, so you got 37. Hold on just a moment. That's very good. Well, consciousness. This is a powerful card of change. Not physically, but mentally, on the subconscious level. There's a healing of your thought processes, old patterns and ways of being. There's a large spiritual force working with you now, helping you to rebalance the mental body. It's interesting because both cards were about the mental body. You're finding greater clarity and a new way of dealing with life's experiences. Your inner work has brought you here. You're in the flow of healing. This is a powerful step towards becoming and outwardly expressing your true state of being. There you go. Yes. Is it, oh my goodness, is it Virgo? Somebody please check because I can't. Virgo full moon. Thought it was Pisces. Whoop. Yeah. Yes, yes, poetry. Hi, Eloise. Naja. Well, it's a super chat. In other words, I wish I knew. I've never used the super chat on this. So, if someone knows out there to guide her to use super chat if she wants to donate for a reading, if you do figure it out, it's right there on the the chat. Please include your question with that donation. But think about it. And remember, everyone can see your question. There you go. Poetry just told you how to do it. Look, if you hit the $sign, then press super chat, then type in and then pay. You see? There you go. Thank you, Kamiko. Ahmed, hello. So we do this by donation of any amount. The way I teach yoga. By the way, I'm going back to teaching in October the 1st. I've not taught the entire summer. Last year we had, does anyone know what red tide is? We had red tide here, and it was impossible for me to teach because I teach yoga on the beach, outdoors. And there were literally hundreds of thousands of tons of dead fish all over the beach. So I decided not even to risk it this year. Yes, you're no cougar. That's funny. Poetry. You're no cougar. You're a jaguar, not a cougar. Well, I might be. I might be. Yes, I might be doing some more. Kamiko, I might be doing. These are pretty spontaneous because I am preparing to go back to teaching. So there's a number of things I have to do in preparation for that event, October 1st. So, but between now and then, I should have time to do that. So, if you have any questions, either readings or if you have questions about reincarnation or about your soul in general, um, you can ask me now or talk amongst yourselves. Oh, the next mind show, because this is the body, mind, and soul show, 3 shows separate. In the mind show, I'm working on doing it on the subject of water, both the incredible physics of water and the spiritual properties of water. And I don't know if everyone saw my rice experiment, which I'll probably include in that, where it's one of the most popular experiments for the transfer of consciousness to water, because you put rice into water. It's really the water that is magnetized by your thoughts. There you are. All right. All right, darling. Let's reassemble, and I will pick a card for you. Let's just do this. Oh, look at this. So, Eloise, you got an extraordinary power. This is one of the most powerful cards in the deck. That's the Tower. What does that mean? Well, that means that some cleaning up of the old has to take place. Something that you'd invested a great deal of your time and energy into may have a faulty foundation. It could be anything in the realm of relationship, in the realm of your work, something that you had, it's taken time to build. But there's something about that phenomenon in your life now that has to be overturned. Your soul is begging for change. You see, the Tower is a condition where if you're reluctant to make the changes necessary, then circumstances, which is the universe's hand, comes in to nudge you, to push you along, to force you towards the change that is absolutely necessary. So that is the word for you, my dear. And take it deep down. Take it in. Because you'll have the courage to make those changes if you realize it within. As I said, we are so gifted with so many guardian angels, so many. All you have to do is make a request. Ask. All right. Najia Hamad. Just whatever the universe. Oh, I love these where people just, whatever we have. Now, we haven't tried the angel cards, so I'll start with the angel cards for you, Naja. And then we'll do another Weight Rider deck. You see here. I do like to send it your energy, Naja. Send the cards your energy now. All right. Well, I wish I could read this. There, the printing is in white. That's silly. Hold on. There we go. It says life's purpose. The purpose of your life is to serve in a way that brings great joy to yourself and to others. Don't worry about finding your purpose. Instead, focus upon serving a purpose. And then your purpose will serve you. Now, that was beautiful. Really. Quite beautiful. See? Just so you see. You can't read that because it's literally written in white. All right. So we have I want to go through these and turn them back up so that you do not have the same reversals. All right. And then I like to insert new ones. And I usually only do 2 because there's no need for that kind of complexity unless it's absolutely necessary. So we then send it your energy, please, Naja. And remember what was said already. So here we go. All right. That is, pardon me, is that 8? Of course it is. Of cups. Cups are about feeling. Feeling energy, feeling. The 8 of Cups, Saturn in Pisces. Saturn is a taskmaster. It puts you through experiences that can be a little tough. And it does so in order to deepen your spiritual understanding of yourself and of the world. And here, what we have is a traveler because he's got a traveling coat on. That's what they used to wear. And he's got his back to us, which means he's just right now about to enter into another journey. The cups represent behind him what you've already invested your emotions into before. And those cups are arrayed beautifully stacked, shall we say, respectfully displayed. But sometimes we reach a point where what had engaged us, was exciting to us, was motivating, loses its luster for some reason. And you might have taken it to the point where it simply won't produce for you the same emotional satisfactions. So you seek out higher territory, a better, you seek out more. And this could mean literal travel away from the familiar, or it could mean a internal choice to try a whole new, unexplored terrain, internal or external. There's no real sadness. It's not that the tower was dramatic for the other person, because that's sort of insisting on the here it's voluntary. This is voluntary. It's out of that was enough of this one particular area of my life, and you're not fighting with it. It wasn't bad. It just reached a certain climax. And so now you're ready to take on new, something you've never tried before, you see. And it could involve travel as well. So there you go, Naja. So that was interesting. I think that life's purpose came up originally for you. And this gentleman is also seeking for new purpose. And to serve is your purpose. There's something about you delivering joy, kindness, and joy to people. And perhaps this card too is about you being at this crossroads, you see, and doing an about face of some sort. But it's encouraging because there was no negativity in either of these cards. Negativity in the sense of it. There's nothing that involves harsh feelings. It's voluntary. It's accepted. There's an acceptance level here. So I'll leave it at that. Well, yes, I just don't know how to make monitors. And I don't know if I can do that here. Here. Oh, I see. Maybe like that. See, there you go. All right. All right. There you go. Sometimes I figure things out faster than I give myself credit for, Oh, that's so sweet. Poetry. Thank you. Purple. All shades of purple. All right. What do you want? Broken Gong, would you like to ask a question? What's your favorite color, Poetry Witch? While I'm waiting for Broken Gong. All right. All right. Any particular deck, Broken Gong? You have any favorites or just anything? Deep red. Oh, very passionate then. Active. Confident. Direct. Your favorite color often belies your disposition, personality disposition as well. So let's pull one for Broken Gong. Oh, I'd like, but before I do that, I want Broken Gong to have, I love these cards, so the angel cards, just so that we start out with a really beautiful piece of poetry, which is why I like them. Black and red You're Scorpio. Oh, yes. Yes, poetry. And I like all shades of purple, mauve. All right. Here we go. Send energy, Broken Gong. All right, TT. Let me read them here because of the light. Notice the signs. Yes, the signs you've been receiving, and they're heaven sent. We drop feathers and coins and other signs upon the path to remind you that you're loved and you're never, never alone. Okay. All right. Let me take those reversals back out. Some minor. There we go. I still don't know where the full moon is. I thought it was in Pisces. Please, someone look. Tell me. Gold is your favorite. That's interesting. That's thought, the mind, the level of almost universal wisdom is gold. I see. It's Pisces, right? Moon in Pisces. That's what I thought. I see. Well, there's controversy. All right. Oh, look at this. You're never alone. It's funny is you're never alone. And what do we have? We have the hermit who's alone. So it's the hermit. The hermit is an enlightened being, still earthbound. He's climbed an incredible summit of understanding, though. He's come a tremendously long way, and his journey has taught him so much. He's able to then hang his light down upon those who are still ascending. It's about teaching. It's about teaching what you understand and what you know. It's about sharing your wisdom, reaching out to the people around you, not in a it's not a very social teaching. It's heart to heart teaching. It's teaching what you've learned from your heart and reaching out to others. That light represents your service. It transmits what you know so that other people don't get lost and they can climb as high as you have, helping others to reach the point, the summit you have. But it's a beautiful card because it's deeply meditative. So there's an aloneness about it for sure. There is something about your path that takes a lot of aloneness time away from others, but when you arrive at a point where you can rest and help others around you, this is a part of your present experience or opportunity or this sort of environmental conditions that give you the sense that you've got to reach out, you've got to give people your light. S- The vying for the other card also was about isolation, being alone. You're never really alone. As we say, we have these spirits all around us. So even when you are physically alone, it's not a loneliness, but it's a powerful aloneness. So, yes, full moon in Pisces. There we go. That's it. It's usually the opposite. When we are in a particular sign, the full moon is in the opposite sign, and I'm opposite to Virgo Pisces. Hi, Dallas. Nice of you to join us. Thank you. So sweet. So we've been going for an hour and a half or more now. If you have any more questions, then I'll call it out. It's like a bar is closing and they call for last drinks. So if you have a question or if you would like to ask about reincarnation, it's still a deeper subject than you can imagine. I still have more to talk about it next time. I don't know if we'll talk about it exactly next time, but there'll be another time in which we're going to speak about reincarnation again because it's an incredible phenomenon. That's right. Sometimes we need the lone space to grow ourselves spiritually, you bet. And modern life doesn't always give you enough alone time or even makes you uncomfortable with it. I often enter a person's home, friends of mine, and they have all kinds of devices on, radios, televisions. uh, Everything is going. And I just feel like running the other way. There, it's lovely to have silence and space and alone time. Do you? Well, this is all done by donation, darling, Dallas. If you would, of any amount, it doesn't matter. That's how I teach yoga. That's how I that's how we support this channel. Yes. And then you can really hear nature when it's quiet. I love the crickets I went swimming before I came here in the Gulf, and we have pelicans here. You think that it's strange that bumblebees can fly. Well, it's even stranger that pelicans can fly. They are an odd shaped bird, but they're masterful fishermen. And you see them diving all around you in the Gulf. It's very beautiful. don't feel bad about asking. We have to survive. We have to. And fame is just about a certain level of being known for something, you know. That's all. Oh, hi. My goodness. Yes. Louisa. Does she have a question? No question. All right. Does she have a preference for any particular deck or card from a deck? Yes, fame, recognition. Absolutely. No preference. All right. Yes, it's no shame. I mean, Michelangelo was famous, for goodness sake. And Rembrandt, uh, of course, he never really liked his fame. I think he bought back every painting he ever sold because he so disliked it. But we're all different. All right. So, Louisa, let me think about her. Friend of yours. You're listening. All right. Hold on. Oh, look, oh, look, I will get to you later. Hold on. Oh, no, no, no. Pardon me. Pardon me. I was just thinking about Louisa. I got all distracted thinking about the name Louisa. Louisa. I like that name. It's an old-fashioned name. All right. So we'll insert 2 reversals, and then I'll pull a card for her. Hold on. All right. Page of Cups. Oh, goodness. I forgot to. That's all right. Page of Cups. That's a very beautiful card. That's a very youthful, young energy. Um, Children are often depicted by um, the page. And the Page of Cups is even sort of like the poetic children, about children who are creative, artistic. It's about being um, either inspired by children who are of this nature, having them around you. That's often in the physical realm, can be taken as literal. The teaching of these children being inspirational to you, or we can see it more broadly as being at the very beginning of artistic development, a development of artistic potentialities within Louisa. A spirit of genuine joy is within you, Louisa. This something is stirring in you, wants to come out, wants you to not deny the enormous amount of potential talent that you have on an artistic level of some sort, and to give your heart over to it. It's the Page of Cups is all water. There's no other element in this card. All water, all feeling. Uh, the rational mind is secondary. It's not as relevant to the situation that either you're facing right now in your life path. Your guides are saying to open your heart and to accept uh, the development of some artistic talent. It's really urging you to go in that direction. All right. So let me address, oh, look, you have a job interview on Tuesday. All right. There's a very pragmatic question. I'll address Louisa, and I wanted to sink in for a moment, and we'll come back to Louisa too. All right. Will you succeed, I suppose? How will the job interview go? I would imagine that would be the concern. It's like being in front of an inquisitor, isn't it, when you go for a job interview sometimes? It's been a long time since I've had to, and but I do remember the feeling. How will it go? For oh, look. See that? All right. Right in front of you. Well, it's interesting. Goodness, let's take this away. The Six of Cups. That's very good. Sixes are balance. You should have a fairly good interview, friendly, congenial. There's something about the job too that will provide you emotional support. The job has a sort of there's something about it that is genuinely fulfilling. So the interview, you see, this is also something like Facebook, social networking, and positive social network, people connecting who already know each other or who are who share similar backgrounds, who share in a sort of a type of innocence, really, that it goes beyond the work environment. If you get this job, you're going to feel very much at home in it. You'll find support, um, and a sense of community. Something about it that might have uh, it reminds you of your past, or there's something reminiscent. Maybe the interview will also encourage your own uh, background history, what you've done. This is an interesting card because uh, the Six of Cups is Sun in Scorpio. Scorpios, well, they like to keep secrets, of course, but they're very passionate, and they don't always like their secrets revealed, but they thrive in conditions in which their passion, their what they believe in, what they stand for can be expressed. So I say that this interview is probably going to go extremely well for you, and you'll probably get the job. And in this job, you'll be able to express a certain amount of your passion, certain amount of your emotional depth, creative depth, and um, feel very much at home in it. So that's what the universe is saying. Now back to Louisa for a moment. I'd like to pull a card for her as well from here. Family. That's interesting. So, Louisa, this situation is rooted in an emotional experience with family members, which can help you to understand and heal in your mind and heart. Surround this person, yourself, and the experience with calming blue light and many angels. Be open to the gifts within the situation and allow yourself to feel peace. Because remember, you got the Page of Cups. So that was about feeling. And as I mentioned, it's about children, children of a more poetic disposition, who are more feeling than they are intellectual. And the whole sense is about feeling, the exchange of feeling, as opposed to intellectual discourse or that kind of uh, inquiry. It's all about the feeling of art, the feeling of art within you, and you apparently have the support of your family, which is very, very good. All right. So, yes, good luck on your interview. That's so cute. Poetry, but you're very funny. So, Kim, you may have come in late. This is done by donation of any amount. I'll pull a card for you if you'd like, Kim. But we soon, this might be the last reading if it does come in. Oh, you're welcome, Brooke. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you. Yes, if you'd like, Kim, I'll take one more reading because it's getting late here in Florida. New role, new city. I see. I see. Oh, look, isn't that interesting? Advertising. That's interesting. Yeah. It go very well. Very well. You're welcome. So if there's no other readings, I might bid you adieu and thank all of you from the bottom of my heart for coming and for helping to support the channel, for participating, for making such beautiful, beautiful comments. And I love you all. Yes, you too. Oh my goodness. Poetry Witch, you sweetheart, for staying up so late. You're welcome. Ferial. Thank you, Broken Gong. Oh, look. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. All my love. And I'll see you probably in another one of these live chats, probably next week. All the best to everyone. All right, so let's find. Good night.